What's up, guys? How's it going? It is Matt here. So we're going to be talking a little bit about marksmanship and fundamentals here. Now, I know I've covered the various parts of fundamentals and stuff like that in the video, but I'm going to teach you guys the truth about what it really takes to actually hit a target. It's not that complicated. It really isn't complicated. It's not complicated at all. But it's taught so many different ways, and they're taught with so many different factors, and you have to have the stance right, you have to have the grip right, you have to have this light, you have to have the sight picture alignment right, you get trigger control right, all this other stuff. The follow through, follow through is important. They'll highlight hold control, all the basic fundamentals. They'll teach that all the time. You need all of these in order to hit the target. You don't. There's two main things that you actually need to hit the target. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about this because there's one demonstration that to this day, it's fresh in my head, 100% fresh in my head. So back when I was a young Lance Corporal, young Lance Corporal, we had gotten back from our second tour. I was getting ready to get out, and I was actually sent over to this place called TTECG Mojave Viper. Our unit was deployed, and we were still at 29 Palms. I was working in an armory. That's what I did. I worked in the army. I was in charge of AK-47s for the actual Op 4, the opposing forces, the people that dress up like bad guys. I was in charge of that stuff in the armory. But because I was in the armory, this was the main headquarters armory. There's also the shooting team's armory. In that position, I learned a couple different things, a couple important things when it comes to action marksmanship. Now, keep in mind, in order to work in an armory, you have to be qualified, literally qualified with a pistol, the same way that everyone qualifies in the Marines with a rifle once a year. You have to be qualified with a pistol because not everyone are actually qualified with pistols. They just aren't. But to work in an armory, you have to. You just have to, because someone always has to be armed. Someone always has to have an M9 on them in the armory. We have to be in there in case there's guns in there. You have to protect it. It's just gun stores, everything, like you have to protect the guns. So they told us, like, okay, so here's your M9s, go qualify. And now keep in mind, there's two guys. There's me and another dude. Both of us were infantry guys. We had never had any formal pistol training. We did the basics of what our sergeants were told us, which is like basically within 5 yards away, like helmets, just point it and pull the trigger. That's all you ever need for what we need, what we use it for. So point it and pull the trigger. So we point, pull the trigger, boom, hit the helmet, good to go, 5 yards away, boom, done. That's what a pistol's used for in the military. That's what it's designed to use. But in qualification, it's a little bit more in depth. So the first time we go through the qualification, me and the other infantry guy that were over there doing it, he was actually LEV guy, LEV infantry, and I was just standard infantry. We unked, which means we didn't qualify. We screwed up. We failed. I remember hitting the ground a couple times when I was shooting. It was so bad, and we were so bad with the pistols. And we got back, and there's a really cool dude. This guy was E7. There's some E7s gunnery sergeant, some E7s that are kind of dicks, and some are actually kind of down to earth and cool. Now, this guy was the headquarters E7, but at the same time, this guy was one of the leading coaches for the actual base shooting team. And they had fancy guns. They had like chrome-plated freaking M16s, which are heavy duty for 1,000-yard shots, and they had fancy 1911s that are all souped up and stuff like that for their actual qualification. So he asked us, he's like, so how'd you guys do? And he was kind of our gunny at the time. We weren't technically part of headquarters, but because we were always in the army, we was kind of like our gunny. He's like, so how'd you guys do? And we're like, we unked. We failed. We didn't get through it. He's like, well, what happened? And we told him, we're like, well, I don't know. We were hitting the targets or anything like that. And then he asked us, he's like, have you guys ever been trained with a pistol? I know. He's like, I know you guys are grunts, but have you ever actually been trained with a pistol? I'm like, no. we shot it every now and then, stuff like that. And, at the time, there was actually a class that was going through getting ready to do their qualification, their pistol qualification. And it was kind of a class session that they were having. And he looked at us and he's like, okay, so this is what we're going to do. He's like, we need 20 minutes. It was either 20 or 30 minutes. We're going to head out there. I'm going to give you guys a quick class. And I guarantee you that when you're done with this class, you will be able to qualify with a pistol. So like, okay, so whatever. So we got our pistols. We took out some of the ammo. It was part of headquarters. It's kind of nice. You could pull out the ammo for that. We took out some of the ammunition. And then it was just me and this other infantry guy with this gunnery sergeant. And first thing he did is he had to shoot. He had to just shoot a little bit, just that entire magazine, 15 rounds, Beretta, just downrange, one at a time. He had to shoot. He looked at it, okay. Like, you're slapping the trigger. You're not doing follow through. He's basically telling the basic stuff on that. Just like, what instructors do. They're trying to get a feel for what's going on. So after this 2-minute session, what this gunnery sergeant said to us, he's like, has any one of you, what have you been taught about pistol? What have you been taught about actually doing it? I told him, like, well, my sergeant told me you have to stay with your shoulder width apart. You hold your hands out at full extension, and you squeeze the trigger, and you squeeze the trigger, and you hit the target. He's like, that's what I was taught. And he's like, okay. He's like, so I'm going to do a quick demonstration for you guys. So, you know, my pistol's been cleared right now. I have my Glock 19. It's been cleared. Keep in mind, this is a Beretta M9 that he was using. So he took it, and he goes like this. This is what I remembered at clear as day. He says, this is what he explained to us. He's like, okay, so he takes his pistol, turns it upside down. He did like some weird ballet stance or something like that. He just set it up. He put it in single action. Double action would be a little bit too tough with it, with the M9. And then bang, he shoots. So he shoots the pistol and he breaks the bullseye ring. And we're both looking at him like, what the hell? He's like, see, I had a shitty grip. I had a shitty stance. How did I hit the target? And we're just like, you know, well, you've been shooting all along. I was just like, no. He's like, the simple trick is this. He's like, you aim in, he's like, and you squeeze that trigger gently without moving the front sight tip. And then he did it again. He aimed in, boom, squeezed the trigger, boom, shot. Right next to his first shot. And then he did it again. Boom, shot right next to his next shot. He had a group center mass with M9 about 15 yards away, about that big, shooting it upside down with a crappy, weird grip and some sort of ballet stance he just made up on the fly. We're looking at him like, whoa. And then that demonstration has always just stuck in my head because I learned a very important lesson that day when it comes to pistol marksmanship. When it comes to marksmanship in general. Marksmanship is, especially with pistols, is the ability to squeeze the trigger, that's trigger control. The ability to squeeze the trigger without moving the front sights. And then doing it again. And doing it again. And if you can do that, regardless of your stance, regardless of your grip, you can hit the target. Now, if you have some weird funky grip that the pistol goes flying from your hand, yeah, you're gonna have issues. So you have to have a firm grip on the pistol, but you need something that is along the lines of like a firm handshake. You just need a firm handshake basically on the pistol. But you don't need a fancy stance. You don't need the Weaver stance. Most of the time when you're shooting, it's gonna be from a moving position or you're moving to cover and you just shoot when you can shoot. The trick for true marksmanship with a pistol, the trick to actually be able to hit the target is being able to squeeze the trigger without moving the front sight. That's it. Not complicated. It really isn't that complicated. Now, the best way to practice this is dry fire practice. I do this a lot. I try it all the time. Every single night, I'm always trying to dry fire practice. There you have it, guys. If you like this video, like, share, subscribe. Tell your friends about me. And remember, it's our responsibility to take care of each other and protect each other. Peace.